An MIT professor's kind gesture went viral after his unique way to help with the work-life balance for a student mom. Troy Littleton runs a research lab at the university and posted this photo on social media last month. He put a baby crib in his own office for one of his graduate students, Karen Cunningham, who's the mom of an almost 11-month-old baby girl. They both say they're glad it sparked an important discussion on the struggles that working mothers face.
I think it started from the very beginning. I mean, grad students typically take anywhere from, 4 to 7 years to get their PhD. Postdoctoral fellows, once you graduate, you sort of have to do a postdoctoral fellowship before you go into industry or look for faculty positions. Also spend, 3 to 6 years in the lab. So it's a family that continually turns over. Unfortunately for me, I would love for everyone to stay in the lab forever because, we have great relationships. But as a family sort of environment where we work together for so long, you develop, long-lasting relationships, and we support each other, we collaborate. A lot of our projects require expertise from multiple people in the lab. So there's a lot of interactions that normally happen focused around our science, and bringing people together to talk about the biology we do and, how the nervous system is built and how it works is, exciting, and it just generally builds relationships. So, part of all of our lives are our families. And so, bringing our families into events when we can is important. And so, we need systematic help on issues with childcare in terms of costs, right? That is the major issue that affects, the communities, not just science, but everywhere. And so I think having, we have to put an emphasis on, childcare as a priority for how we spend our resources. It's incredibly expensive. Graduate students don't make a lot of money, and you can't expect grad students to spend, 50 to 80% of their salary on childcare. It just doesn't work on any level. And so there have to be resources available to, locally support our students to, cap the amount of their income that they have to spend on childcare. I think that's the ultimate solution, is that, we need local childcare, and we do have that at MIT. There are childcare centers on campus that, my postdocs have used before, for example, but they're very expensive. Even though they are subsidized, it's still a lot of the, take-home pay basically goes towards paying childcare. So if you have another working, parent that makes more than you do, it's something you potentially can get by with. But if you have 2 students, for example, it's incredibly difficult. So we need to have some type of a cap that, a student can spend no more than 20% or 10% or some magic number of their take-home income on childcare, and whatever is beyond that, the institute supports. So I think that needs to be, it needs to be systematic across the U.S. But if it's not going to be that, we have to take steps, and lead by example in places like MIT, where we're, devising ways that we can really address this question. And we don't deter, young women scientists from even starting a PhD to begin with, because they know that the cost of childcare is going to prevent them from potentially finishing.
I mean, what Troy said is absolutely, he hit the nail on the head. Childcare is, I think, the biggest problem that I can see. Daycare, like he said, there are some daycare centers at MIT, and they're great. They're also like a majority of our stipend. So that's unaffordable for a lot of people. I think, when we talk about the issue of needing to sort of support more women going into STEM, we talk about the issue of a kind of like a leaky pipeline. So it's the idea that women tend to leave STEM at different steps along the way. So, there's fewer women kind of in the faculty positions and like higher up positions in STEM. And I think one of the reasons is because a lot of women feel like they have to choose between doing their PhD, which can take the majority of your 20s, and then a postdoc, which takes into your mid-30s sometimes. They have to choose between that and having kids. And so like, that's the reason a lot of people, I think, don't go to grad school to begin with. And so knowing that there's support, actual material support for graduate students to make it possible to do both, to be on the track to being a scientist and also have a family when you're in your 20s, that would make a huge difference, I think. And I think also just like seeing examples of people doing that would be great. I mean, I know that when I decided to have Katie, I didn't know any other graduate students I didn't know any other women who'd had a baby during grad school.